Remember, they're changing my voice. Why would they do that? Why would they make it harder for me to make my point unless I'm right? Keep that in mind. In verses 37 through 38, Jesus says that people who are thirsty should come to him, and it points out that he was referring to the Spirit as the drink. This is one of many comparisons that show that water and the wind, etc., are often used metaphorically or figuratively in the Bible. They argue that no prophet comes from Galilee, and this is symbolic of them rejecting people who aren't from their mere human rules, customs, and traditions. See Mark 7, while ignoring the deeper spiritual message. John 8. Okay. Jesus again points out that God testifies on his behalf, just like I point out that Psalm 19 shows us that the heavens declare the glory of God and the skies proclaim the work of his hands. When one has insight and an eye to see, so to speak, the works of God's hands are divine, moral, warrior, champion works. Only the lowest of rape called trash would want to get people to look up to or to follow other people, or make it seem like others are above me. That is clearly Satan's work, and I will have no part in it. Okay, and they do bitch ass shit. You can imagine they're going to probably chop up this video and try to make it seem like I said other things. Part of why I did this picture thing, but even that can be faked, okay? These are horrible, horrible people who are spreading a gay agenda, raping kids, coercing people. Okay, why does 40% of Generational Z identify as LGBT? You know, because the kids were turned out physically and otherwise, right? A mix of physically and psychologically, okay? And the Republicans are going to sit there with a white supremacist thong on and pretend like they're not instrumental in this? Right, it's outrageous as hell. I'm sure their ancestors didn't wear wigs and didn't seem like homosexuals too. Right, it's pretty straightforward. Anyway, where was I? All right. In verse 23, Jesus points out that he is from above, which overkills the Psalm 19 proof. Jesus points out that everyone who sins is a slave to sin, and that the Jews he was talking to are not Abraham's descendants, as Abraham did not do the evil things they were doing. They are said to be the devil's children as they lie, and it comes naturally to them, and they refuse to be corrected by him. He says that whoever belongs to God hears and obeys God. Okay, hears and obeys God. God seeks to glorify himself through the King of Kings. This is what Jesus was saying. He says God seeks to glorify himself and to get people to obey the King of Kings as he embodies the characteristics of God. And this is why they persecute me and try to cover up my characteristics. It is part of how they unwittingly or otherwise can see my point. I have over 22 witnesses on record on the internet at this time. They may try to coerce them into giving false testimony. Jesus also says that before Abraham, I am. And in Exodus, God said to Moses, I am who I am. And I am what I am is another translation. I am what I will be. And that is how he should try to convince the Jews to listen to him. Okay, and of course, being persecuted for righteousness' sake to the point where you're screened out is a clear-cut sign of being from God. Exodus 15:3 says, the Lord is a warrior, the Lord is his name. For whatever reason, the word name is the word mean scrambled. The Lord is also called the Almighty for a reason. How can they who refuse to concede my point by action, be in the spirit of the Almighty? They are in the spirit of the all evil and all immature. John 10. Okay, so we're skipping ahead to, kind of key parts. We're going to end it at John 10, or we're going to touch on John 16. And if I have time and if I remember, I'm going to make another video for the last half of the Gospel of John. Okay, John 10. In John 10, last half or so, a little more than half. In John 10, Jesus says that if they do not believe him, at least believe his works, so they know that he is in the Father and the Father is in him. The word Christos means the anointed one. Also, Psalm 89 shows us, he says he's anointed a warrior. Okay, my warrior works testify that I am Christ. My challenge in 2012, my challenge in December, on December 20th, 2013, that is still going, which I cannot lose because of how much sabotage I have endured and their refusal to compensate me and let me recover. So basically, when everyone's doing the wrong thing, and I've had this challenge for years and years and years, somewhere around 2017, they sabotaged me so much that I was blinded for a few days, okay, and I've had to wear these glasses, and I haven't been able to do martial arts since. I'm able to do very mediocre, workouts that really don't help me very much, okay? It's clear cut, okay, that they worship the devil, and everyone's rolling with it, and you can tell by the spectrum of their cultures, right? So we look at, the real challengers would come out of Nigeria, right? So who's a challenger for Jordan, or Tyson and Ali, right? So you look first and foremost to the descendants of Nigerians for that mind, body, soul, spirit, okay, and the true spirit, Martin Luther King, so on and so forth. Okay, so we say, what is the difference between this guy and nerds and craftsmen, with all due respect, and so on and so forth, okay? What's the difference between Martin Luther King, okay, and these people? What is that look he has, and so on and so forth, okay? What are the differences here, okay? So, do you pick figs from thistles, or do you pick them from fig trees? So as I carefully went over, scientifically, logically, and everything, and looked at who's related to who and everything, with everything considered, and was 100% sure no one could beat me. Okay, so before and by default it defaults with me on top of that, because Kuro Obi means black belt. That's a long story. I don't want to run out of time, but make a long story short, I have videos about this, why it's clear cut that I had already won before I began, because I'm naturally superior to other people. Okay, and I as a son of two doctors, one a brain surgeon, went way out of my way to make sure that was the case. Okay, and now that they've sabotaged me this much, okay, they've made it so that it's not fair for me to end my challenge, because why should I be cheated out of the lifelong challenge because they sabotaged me? That's their bad. So the challenge is still going, and the burden of proof is on them, and they have to let me recover, and they have to compensate me. Okay, then the challenge will be the challenge. Then you can be able to accept the challenge, and at $10 million if you win, but no one could win because I'm way better than they are, and so on and so forth. Anyway, because God chose me, and so on and so forth. All right, how much sabotage I've endured, and the refusal to compensate me and let me recover. I've massively defeated all challengers, and many were too afraid to make their systems look bad to even show up. I insist that this be made known to the world, and have referred to my challenge, or me being the top martial artist, in countless comments and thousands of videos on YouTube for almost a decade now. You tell those sniveling worms for almost a decade now if they have any questions. In their own way, every martial arts master from every system, or quote-unquote master, from every system has conceded that I am the top and the last valid martial artist ever. It is at $60,000 if I'm not compensating, $10 million if I am, and it is an outdoor sparring challenge. Spar it, spirit, and spirit. Look at this carefully. This part is key. Spar it, spirit, and spirit. Okay? And why is that? Think about the connections there, and you'll see I'm right. And being straightforward and honest through the use of mind, body, soul, spirit, sparring are connected. Okay, even when you play sports to some degree, when someone's guarding you in basketball or football, you see they're in some kind of spirit, there's some kind of state of mind that's reflected by their state of being, their spirit, their soul. You kind of see these things. Anyway, Jesus said he is the root and offspring of David,